Hey everybody, what's up? You know, as you can see the title up above, you probably are asking yourself, why did I put that title? Well, it's a title I've used at DeviantArt, and that's about it, and at Perveniant, and wherever. But you know, what's funny about this is this all stems from the fact that the most recent issue of the main comic, or the main cover, or the cover of the main comic, a preview cover for an issue that's going to come out in the next few months, was recently released over this past week, along with the preview cover for the 41st issue of Sonic Universe. And there's a lot of people that have that have talked about both covers, but when they take a look at 238, it's not a cover they like to look at, because even though many have pointed out that Sonic has a tear coming down is crying, basically has tears forming in his eyes, you know, they still don't like it, because it's like to them, they're trying to show that Sally in her mecha form is a much bigger threat than Eggman is. And I wouldn't necessarily say that she's a bigger threat. I just think this is something that, you know, by the time this issue comes out, we'll be 12 issues away from 250. By the time 238 comes out, we'll be 12 issues away from 230. I mean 250, I should say, 250. Which means to me there's got to be some kind of resolution coming real soon. But the thing is, we don't know what that resolution will be. Now, I'm pretty sure any of you watching this vid will probably say, we'll probably realize that there's a lot of fans that don't like what's going on in the comic right now anyway. And that's perfectly understandable, because on the other side of things, you got fans that do. I mean, you have, for example, you have Laser X5 at the Saturday AM Sonic forums, basically in a sarcastic kind of way, not liking that cover until somebody points out that Sonic is crying in it. And if you look real good on the cover, you can see a tear or so. And that might be true, but Laser's even saving that for judgment until he actually gets a better look at the issue. Now, he has admitted that he doesn't like what he's seeing. He doesn't like the fact that Sally is fighting Sonic. You know, he doesn't, or Sonic's fighting her, or being forced to anyway. You know, he's saying he just doesn't like what he's seeing. You know, he doesn't like what he's seeing, period. I think if I can find something here, it was 2 days ago that he said, with one of the smiley faces that has like a face palm, and he puts this in capital. He capitalizes one of the words he uses. He says, "Oh yeah," because this was on March 17th. He did the St. Patty's Day. He says, "Oh yes." He says, "Oh yes, Sonic," and then he puts "really" in capitals. He says, "really looks torn up inside about having to fight his roboticized, weaponized girlfriend." And then he puts in blueprint. Maybe by this point he's moved on and doesn't care about that. And then another smiley face icon has eating like some kind of newspaper article and all that. And it says "only in Ian's world." Only in Ian's world. Now, Blue, who's another member of the forum, counters that by saying, and I quote, "Wow, you really feel that bitter? Well, you're really that bitter, aren't you? Also, I know you need characters to bring up some past events to make it more realistic and believable. But if a character brought up the same plot point over and over again, then it could get irritating to older fans. And basically, what Laser is trying to point out is, to Laser X5, they feel Sally is 9 out of the 10 times the fall guy / girl, of the book. And, they wonder, why can't somebody else take that spot? Why can't somebody else be that tragic? Basically, he's wondering nowadays, is that all Sally's really good for? To feel, for the Sonic, the freedom fighters, and the readers to feel sorrow and loss for when bad things happen to her. Now he does point out that in a way he does agree, but like I mentioned at the beginning, he wants to be 100% sure before admitting the cover has Sonic crying on it. And that people got to remember he's Sega's mascot, and Sega has the mandate that he can't show much emotion at times. Now Blue points out to him that Sonic is the main character and the title character of the comics, and Laser counteracts by saying things like, yes, but can't they use another freedom fighter or character for a big tragic moment in other stories? And he does point out Antron right now doesn't technically count. Well, because he's not dealing with so many issues like Sally is currently doing time and time again, and we don't know the extent of Antron's injuries. Now I kind of point out to everybody that, to like Blue and Red Arthur and all that, I kind of point out in my own way, and I quote, I say, look, you can't blame Laser for how they feel. I mean, being a long-time fan myself, I don't like seeing her that way either. Even though, and I didn't put this in the topic, even though I've said I'm not going to read the comics, but I'm still going to subscribe and just let things go the way they are, and then after it's all said and done, I'll let my judgment pass. In other words, that's what I mean by being in the middle, despite what people say. But I go on, I say, but as much as I hate to admit it, or say it, this is not the first time the hero, and I put in bold italics, hero of the comics had to fight the beloved. I mean, do you really want a list of similar situations? And I think you know what I mean by list of similar situations. X-Men, Spider-Man, Batman, DC comics, other Marvel comics, things like that. Fantastic Four, Now I do kind of talk about the new story arc that's being previewed. With the Secret Freedom Fighters. I say, well, as far as the new arc goes, it along with the SU arc that follows after, seems to be climaxing with the same big event that will occur in the main comic, meaning between Sonic Universe issues 49 and 50 and Sonic the Hedgehog issues 246, 247, we will probably get some kind of resolution to the whole arc for the time. Hopefully the resolution will be one with Sally restored in some way. And after I mention this, and as a matter of fact you could actually see what I mentioned there, I don't think you can, but that's what I said right there. Blue actually responds and says, yeah, maybe I was being harsh on Laser for being this bitter. And Red Arthur, after reading it, I think kind of only reads like the top part, the first paragraph, and when I ended with similar situations, he says, oi, don't get me started, kind of deal. He says like, oi, don't get me started. Unfortunately, the original Freedom Fighters just aren't as popular anymore to get all that much panel time. Sally gets a lot of the bad luck that should spread throughout the group. So in other words, what both of them are saying is, look, well, Laser is saying, look, I don't like what's happened to Sally, and I agree with them. I'm one of those people among many, and I mean many, that don't like what's happened, but right now we got to deal with it. We can't really say anything else. We got to deal with it. And there are those like Red Arthur who's actually getting a kick out of the story arc in some ways, and mostly out of Sonic Universe it looks like, but does agree that Sally shouldn't be the one where most of the bad luck falls upon. You know, she shouldn't be the one that gets most of the bad luck, that it should be spread throughout. And that's another argument you can agree or disagree on. Now, I know people watching this will come out and say, well, Brian, you know, you're not giving Ian and his staff, Ian and all the writing staff and all that a chance. Look, we've given him chances. I'm giving him a chance. You know, I respect the fact that he wants to take things to another level. I do. But there could be other ways to do it. I mean, for example, you got two people on DeviantArt, Laser being one of them, that find different alternate ways to kind of keep themselves busy throughout this whole situation. Laser currently uploaded the second part 2A if you will, of his alternative revision or revising of issue 230. Well, another person on DeviantArt, I can't think of the name right now, has sort of a webcomic that takes place, I guess, inside Sally's mind, because it's entitled Sally's Inner Struggle. Like maybe she's trying to fight, like, he's not done with it yet. This person's not done with it yet. I mean, they're at the 80th plus page, but they're not done with it. But perhaps in a way it's kind of like Sally trying to fight for control over her robotic body. And as much as I hate to say it, and I'm sure anybody else would agree, these are far more interesting than what's going on in the comic in the eyes of some. I mean, they are. I mean, there's no doubt about that. And I think some people, not all, but I think some, if not many, would agree. Now, again, I know there are some and many that won't agree with anything I'm saying and say, look, you know, he's doing a great job. You know, the comic's more interesting than it's ever been. Sally's more interesting than she's ever been. Well, yes, that's true. She is, but you got to realize she's in a predicament right now that has to put her, that makes her that way. I mean, she's always been an interesting character, despite how you feel about her. She's always been interesting. But the thing is, you know, there's a lot of fans that feel it could have been done differently. You could have gone a different direction. You could have used somebody else. Or you could have done something differently. But again, it's all about a difference of opinion. And I respect the fact that there's difference of opinions on both sides. Some like what's going on, some don't. Some like what's going on, but they don't feel Sally should be like, you know, the person that goes through all the trauma and all the tragedy and being the one that's mechanized and roboticized. Well, others, you know, don't like it, but hey, they're cool with, don't like what's going on, but hey, they like the new Mecha Sally design. They like the new Mecha Sally design. So, and you know, whatever. And, you know, and here's what's funny, though. Here's what's funny. Even before, we all know this before, but even afterwards, more fan art of Sally in her original design, has popped up all over DeviantArt, all over all these other Sonic sites at times. You Google, there's mostly pictures, gallery, you know, pictures and fan art of her in her original design. Heck, even fans have drawn her in what they speculate could be a new look for her when, if, and should she be restored. And I put emphasis on when, if, and should, because knowing Ian Flynn and Paul Kaminsky, they're never going to really tell you when or where it's going to happen. Even though a lot of fans in their own way, in their own special ways, are trying to get Ian Flynn and Paul Kaminsky and anybody else that will listen to at least give them a hint, at least give them an idea of exactly what's going to happen in their future, or what's going to happen, or what they got planned. I mean, my opinion, my honest opinion, folks, is by making all these fan arts of Sally the way she was, and even kind of estimating or assuming of what she'll look like if, when, and should she be restored, you know, it's kind of like sending a message to them that saying, hey, look, we want resolution, we want an answer. Kind of at least tell us that, you know, is everything going to be okay in the future? Or, you know, you don't have to tell us the issues or anything, but kind of give us a clue that things will be alright. That she'll be alright. Alright, or these characters will be alright. I mean, that's all they want. That's all they want. And through the fan art on DeviantArt, the fan art at various Sonic sites, the alternative stories, the web comic that's currently being done by this one fan called Inner Struggles, you know, through Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. I mean, they are continuously going to try to drive the message home that they want some kind of an answer. And I know there's going to be a lot of fans out there that are going to counter that. Other fans that are going to counter them by saying, look, leave things the way they are. Leave it alone. Let things just go with the flow. You know, let's write it out. Let's see what Ian's doing. He may surprise you. Give him a chance. And believe me, a lot of people have given him a chance. Game Boy Sage is giving him a chance. Jake Foxfire is giving him a chance. And they're among those that do the fan art of her either restored by free will or not. But it's like, they're saying like, look, give him a chance, see what happens. And we do. We do give him chances. We do. I'm giving him a chance. Because even though I may not be reading the issues, which some people may think is stupid, even though I've resubscribed, here's my answer to that. I'm one of those people that doesn't read the issues, but if a big event is happening, there's something going on in the big event that I don't like, that after it's all said and done, and I get an idea that there's some kind of resolution, I'll do an overall review and let my judgment come then. But what I'm saying though, folks, is there's going to be a lot of fans, and it's like, you know, it's kind of like what Ian Flynn said in his DeviantArt response. There's no pleasing anybody. And you know what? You're right. He's right. There is no pleasing anybody in the middle. And you would think he would have thought about that, but hey, even writers, even head writers of comic books, longtime writers, rookies, whatever, they learn as they go. And I'm pretty sure after this is all said and done, he's going to realize, hey, next time I want to do something like this, I better reconsider what the ramifications will be. Because even though he may, and this is just my opinion, he and Paul may think this is going to get some people to like Sally again. You know, he might be right, they might be right, they may be wrong. You know? But again, it's just, you know, again, there's just a lot of people that don't like what's going on in her, don't like her current status, and you can't blame them for that, like you can't blame Laser X5 on Saturday AM Sonic forums for feeling the way they do. And as far as the Sonic Universe art coming up called Secret Freedom Fighters, everybody wants to know. There's one person that's asking at the I think it was Red Arthur, I believe, that's asking why does, I don't know if it's Red Arthur or somebody, but they're asking why is Silver always constantly showing up and messing with the past? Well, if you look into Silver's backlog, it's like this. Silver, through the games, and mostly in the comics, is trying to stop a disaster from happening and preserve his future. His future, which, if you, unfortunately, I guess in the eyes of some, play Sonic 2006, or read the comics, his future is decimated. It's in ruins. It's in despair. And what he's trying to do is prevent that from happening. He's kind of like well, if I want to use an X-Men reference, he's kind of like the Bishop of the Sonic comics. If you watch the original X-Men's, if you watch the original 1990 X-Men cartoon, you'll realize that Bishop went into the past to prevent his future from being decimated or being ruined. That's kind of like the role Silver's playing right now. He's trying to prevent something that's going to ruin his future. Now, a lot of people can assume that he might be the key to maybe Sally being restored, and he might be. He might be. We don't really know. But that is why he's in the past. He's trying to prevent something from happening. Now, what's even more funny, I mentioned this in a video, and I did this in text, is that you got the elemental and resurgence wars that were mentioned in Mobius years later. Now, even though Ian has come out and told Reese tales at DeviantArt that Mobius years later will not be referenced for a while, it still kind of makes you wonder why this is happening. You know what I'm saying? Kind of makes you wonder. But anyway, apparently a lot is going down in the next few months. But we don't know if that's going to lead to any kind of resolution. But we do know that with Secret Freedom Fighters starting I think this June, because next month is what? 39 of Universe and 40 is in May. So you've got up till October with the whole Secret Freedom Fighters deal. Or at least September, June, July, August, yeah. September is when it ends, and then you got October, November, December, January, and then February, and you know, something's going to coincide with both issues real soon. Don't think I'm not kidding on that. I'm not. Because when you think about it, something will coincide. Some people may not know what it is yet, but it's going to happen. But my only question is, what kind of resolution, what kind of answers will people have? Will Sally be restored? Will Silver finally have prevented his future in some ways from being the darkness that it is? What is going on? Will Nagas be out of power? Will he be separated again into the three entities that merged to be him? You know, what is going to happen? And everybody wants these answers. You know, who's going to play a role in what? So, we're going to find out real soon. We're going to find out real soon. But, you know what? But in closing, I want to say this. What's kind of ironic about this whole situation right now, currently in the comics, what's ironic is back in February, Sonic SatAM became part of the, at the end of February, Sonic SatAM became part of the Netflix streaming library. In other words, now you can watch Sonic SatAM on any Netflix streaming device, whether it's your Xbox, your PS3, your iPod, your iPhone, your iPad, your Kindle, whatever. What's funny is that has occurred. SatAM going on Netflix streaming has occurred, becoming part of Netflix streaming. You know that. I mean this here becoming part of Netflix streaming around the same time the whole situation going on in the comics, to me, kind of presents an alternative, because now fans who don't like seeing, who have kind of like that Netflix streaming access, you know, can kind of do what I do if they want to, and that's if they look at a picture of Sally in her mecha form. Hey, just turn your head, try to scroll turn your head or look around, try to avoid looking at it. Try to find like some kind of fan art of her original design or wherever, Google, DeviantArt, whatever. Or, if you have Netflix streaming, just watch Sonic SatAM, and it's like, Mecha Sally? What Mecha Sally? I don't know Mecha Sally, kind of deal. And like I said, that's kind of funny and ironic that that's been put on Netflix streaming about at the same time we're currently going through what we are in the comics. So, but anyway, I know I kind of rambled on there, but that's just my thoughts on the whole current status of Sally and, you know, the big event in SU41 and a big event basically. So comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'll talk to you all later.